Okay, everybody. Yeah, big day. It's Tuesday. This is the DataDistillr Masterclass series, and we got the master. We got the master on this call. The master is also our CEO, Mr. Charles Giffrey, and most people just think it's a Tuesday, but I think we got something important to talk about today. Welcome to the DataDistillr Masterclass. It is our CEO, Charles Giffrey. Why is today different? What's so special about today, my man?
Well, thanks, Darren, for this. Well, today is a really big day for us at DataDistillr because we are announcing today that we are a trusted partner in the Oracle Cloud Marketplace today, which for us is just a huge deal, and we're really excited to be working with Oracle.
It's a huge deal. We have followed Charles on this vision to make all data accessible where it is. And where that is means we need to be able to partner with all of the big databases and all the big clouds, not just AWS. And I think being able to be an Oracle partner and work with Oracle in their cloud, the OCI is like insane. So, Charles, how do you feel today? I mean, again, being this part of being able to access all data, then going with Oracle, I mean, that's big news.
It really is. I'm really excited about it. I mean, the potential for us, speaking as a company CEO, is huge from a business perspective. But really, what I'm really excited for are Oracle's customers who have data in different places and have been struggling with how they're going to work with it. And so this is one of the things that DataDistillr is can really help out with, is being able to join data across clouds, across platforms, and being able to just work with your data where it is without having to do a lot of kind of extraneous plumbing. So if you're an Oracle customer and you have data on AWS, we can help you out. We can query that data. We can help you write it back to your Oracle database if that's what you want to do. But all of these different things are going to be possible and very simple to do in the context of our tool. So we're really excited about that.
And what's also just incredibly exciting was how many resources Oracle gave to help make this happen. So we've got a fantastic engineering team, a fantastic data science team, all located in the US. And Oracle comes in and says, listen, there's something here within the Oracle Cloud to make all data accessible. And then they give our tech team all of these resources. Charles, humbling, is that the right word, as the CEO of this great company? I mean, how do you feel when such a big company is like, yes, this is an important tech that we are going to put resources behind to make our Oracle customers successful as they move to the cloud?
It is really, it's humbling. It's amazing. It's exciting. It's really amazing though that Oracle was like, they got our vision, and they agree with our vision of that data, of making data accessible and making it easy to work with, and unblocking all of the data challenges that that people face in their work. That's what we want to do, and it's really great that that Oracle agrees with us and trusted us enough to want to work with us, especially as we're a fairly young company. So it's amazing to me, it's really just amazing to me to see how far my company's come, how far our team has come, and also just again the generosity of the Oracle staff in their time and helping us out, getting our tool to the point where it is now.
Yeah, and they're going to win. Oracle's going to continue to win, and the Oracle Marketplace team, delightful. I mean, we were on so many calls with them. So we also wanted to take this time to give a shout out to the Marketplace team and the cloud partner team, the OPN team. It was months of work. And today, what was nice was we were up pretty late last night, but we've been up later. So
this is true.
That's great. Now, one of the things that I also think is super interesting about DataDistillr is, you can access the data, and we're talking about OCI, we're talking about Oracle Cloud, but we're also talking about Snowflake. We're talking about Dremio. We can also talk about data that's not in the cloud, whether it be ServiceNow or Salesforce or Workday. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. But is there anything else that that we want to talk about in addition to what we could do in the cloud? because not everyone also has the data in the cloud, right? So now you're on Oracle Cloud, but you have some that might be outside the cloud. How do we solve that problem?
Well, what the way our tool works is it doesn't you don't have to move the data around in order to work with it. So if we can, generally speaking, if we can access it, we can query it. And what that really
Yeah.
does, I was actually just talking to somebody today, this morning, about and it sounds like kind of a funny problem, but it really isn't. It was that they have QuickBooks data that's accessible via QuickBooks Cloud, but they wanted to join it with some other things. And there wasn't really a great way of doing that, as it turns out. And so when you start using our tool, you start seeing all the different possibilities of how you might use it, other data that's out there that you own, that is trapped in some SaaS platform or something like that.
Yep.
Oftentimes we can query that as if it's just another database table for you. And so it again, it really radically changes the way you can work with your data and get value from your own information. I mean, that's really what it comes down
Yep.
to, is being able to get value from your own information without having to, do a whole lot of complex data engineering. So yeah, I mean,
Well, I think you bring up some other points here when we talk about use cases, and this is an exciting day again for DataDistillr. We can be found at datadistillr.com. You can also download our app on the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, which is pretty neat. And we talk about use cases, and Charles was just talking about QuickBooks. But I mean, when I look at the use cases, we get at data audit, data lineage. We're even seeing crypto. We're seeing ad tech. We're seeing health tech. There are a lot of use cases. So when you think about DataDistillr, you can think about us to helping the IT team, of course, the data science team. How about the finance team? How about the customer support team? How about HR? I don't know, again, Charles, if you want to talk about some of those use cases that we're seeing.
yeah, those are, I mean, any of those use cases
Yeah.
are really great use cases. I'll tell you one of the ones though that I think is kind of like, it's almost a fringe benefit of using our tool, is that when you use our tool to work with your data, as part of it, you also get insights on how you are using your own data,
Yeah.
which in an enterprise environment is really, really valuable, because oftentimes it's very difficult. If you're running a massive data lake, it's very difficult to actually know what data is actually being used and by whom and what for.
Mm.
And so the way our tool is structured, it enables the IT teams that support these large data infrastructure projects to actually understand who's using their data, what are they using it for, and all this kind of stuff, so that when they have to make budgetary decisions, you can make
Yes.
them with some degree of rigor, rather than just kind of like turning something off and seeing who yells, which surprisingly
Mm.
happens quite a bit in enterprise. But again, this is another really cool reason
Right.
why you should check out our tool.
Well, I think there's two things that Charles talked about when we're really again excited about the Oracle Marketplace that I want to kind of stretch that thought bubble. One, well, two things on that stretch. One, I want to talk about the API and how you could share it, and two, the thoughtful security by design that we've put into the program or the tool, because we understand how sensitive it is to share data, access data. So it's not just like, oh, you can access data, but we've put a lot of thought. Our tech team, our security team, we have really been very thoughtful in putting security design. So I don't know if you want to pick up which one you want to go first, but that sharing API, actually, there's three actually I want to hit.
Sure, there's a
Sorry.
lot
We've
there.
got share API, we've got collaboration in projects with metadata, and of course we've got governance and security. I mean, this is the vision. So I
Yeah.
pick that up anywhere you want, Charles.
Wow, there's a lot there.
Yeah,
Why don't I let's see. So let me start with the publishing data bit, because I think
great.
that's a very important and very powerful feature of um, our tool is really great. I like it a lot, but at the same time, I also know that it's not going to do everything at all phases. So we
Right.
realized early on that we had to have, like, we had a bunch of meetings about this, where we kind of asked the question: a user got their data, now what do they do with it?
Yes.
And so what we did was we built in the capability of our tool, so that to allow users to publish their data to APIs. So if you want to do all of your data exploration in our tool, great. That's the great place to do it. But then if you want to, say, build machine learning models, that data needs to go into some sort of machine learning environment like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, or R, or something like that. It needs to go there and needs to be seamless. So in the current state of our tool, we give you the ability to publish your data to an API, and then it also generates sample code for you, so you
Wow.
can literally just cut and paste this code into your machine learning scripts, and that data will be loaded into a data frame for you. So it makes it really easy to get data from a variety of data sources and pipe that data directly into like a Jupyter notebook or something like, or an R script, so that you can do more advanced modeling and machine learning.
Well, I
It's a
just
really
want
great
to pick
feature.
up on that because as this collaboration and publishing between APIs is important, as so many companies are still trying to figure out their back to work policy, whether it is a work remote in the office. So being able to share, not in an email, not constantly in Slack channels,
Yep.
but be able to share it and comment on it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really important. And I think that's another reason why I think when we sat down with Oracle was part of our product council.
Mm-hmm.
And we were super excited. But this is, again, when you become an Oracle partner, we're in the marketplace to everyone in the startup community. It's not just you call Oracle and they let you in. There was a lot of thought went in
Oh yeah.
in co-designing this product to get us here. And again, we're with our CEO, Charles Givery, who's led the charge, built out the product council, had that design conversations, and we found some pretty good nuggets there. So Charles, I want to just keep you going to the next one. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about, but
Well, I
you
was going
pick
to
it
say
up.
also part of that publish feature, and one of the things that this is not yet deployed, but one of our customers is actually using our tool to resell data. So
Yeah.
they have a bunch of data that they're working with. They built these rather complex queries to join all these data sets together, provide enrichment, do all these things. And then through our tool, they create an API, they put throttling on it, and then they can sell it to other people, again, directly from our tool. So, and then of course monitor who's using it and do all those kinds of things. So it makes it super easy to just
Right.
work with your data, push it out other places in a controlled way, in a secure way, without exposing your underlying data sources.
Well, I'm going to throw an audible here on this announcement. You went someplace interesting about how we deploy and how easy we are. So first, we're on the Oracle Marketplace, right? So that's the first place you can find us, and we spent a lot of time thinking about how you can be deployed and how we want users to deploy in our instance. We want to delight you. Then there will be an enterprise license. But I think what's really important of how we thought about this is we want people to use and experience what we've built, right, Charles? I mean, that was a big thing. That's why we wanted to make it very easy in the marketplace to use us and
Absolutely.
connect. I think it's an important
Absolutely.
thing
You
to
know,
talk about.
our tools it's very simple to deploy. It's
Yeah.
and coming very soon there'll be a version that you can just, if you don't need the back, if you have a very small situation, you'll be able to just log in to
Yeah.
datadistillr.com, create your own account and connect your data sets there. That's obviously for a
Right.
smaller business or maybe an individual. But the functionality there will be a little bit more limited,
Right.
but at least there you can kick the tires and see what you think of the tool.
And on this, what's interesting is Charles built a great startup, and when you build a startup, you have a roadmap, and our roadmap started with the North Star of accessing all data, and it started also with AWS. But we were at the right place at the right time to pause and say, if it's all data, it shouldn't just be AWS. Let's go for Oracle. Let's go for the others. You want to talk about that moment when you had to sit down with our really talented engineering data science team and said, okay, we need to kind of go bigger than just AWS, because that's a big CEO, and there's a lot of startups that have to make these big product decisions. And what was that like?
It's a tough one, because actually infrastructure isn't my area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
My real area of expertise, I'm more of a data scientist and a data person than someone who has deep expertise in cloud infrastructure and so forth. But I knew enough to know that enough companies are especially when you get into large enterprises, they're not just using AWS, they're using Azure, they're using Oracle, they're using Google Cloud, they're using on-prem data sources. And so I think the notion that when you get into large enterprises, that all your data will be in one place and it will be provided to you by one company is just not going to happen.
Yeah, join one of our sales calls. Join
Yeah.
one of our partner calls.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles.
So we kind of had to figure out, we had to make the call, like, how do we build our tool? How do we architect our tool
Yes.
so that it will work we didn't want to just be limited to AWS, because I can tell you also from experience when I was doing a lot of government stuff, it was so aggravating when we'd go to these trade shows and I'd be talking to these vendors and they have these amazing products, and then you'd ask them, well, how do you deploy it? And then they tell you, oh, well, we're on, you just connect your AWS buckets to our tool. Like, great, we don't have AWS buckets. How do we deploy your tool? And they're like, well, sorry, I didn't want to be that. I mean, and that kind of flies against our whole, MO of making data easy to use and make it accessible. But the flip side is that our infrastructure, it took us a little longer to build it than if we had just said, no, we're just doing AWS or just doing Azure. But the plus side is that we can deploy anywhere. And, the first one will be a little more effort, but we can deploy anywhere. I have full confidence in our team, and our team is amazing. I mean, they did the Oracle development in no time, and so it's.
Well, I think you also bring up, and I know we're jumping around, but this is just an exciting day. Again, we're live on the Oracle Marketplace. You can download our app even at www.DataDistillr. This is part of the DataDistillr Masterclass series. We've got the master with us right now, Charles Givry. I think what's also interesting is we can work on-prem. We're not just a cloud. We can work on-prem. We want to access the data on-prem. But I also think what's interesting about the Oracle instance is like when we build the instances for Oracle customers, they can see what it looks like in the cloud as well on-prem. So I thought that was a very interesting way that Oracle is bringing all this together. And it's very exciting how they're thinking about cloud and taking their customers from prem to cloud. Very exciting stuff for Oracle. What a day. What an exciting day. I think we also want to talk about either maybe security, governance, and the projects. I mean, we can also, just hit one of those. I know those are very important to a lot of, our buyers is how, where's the data, make sure it's secure. We did that in buyer design and projects. You want to talk through that?
Sure. With respect to,
with respect to working from home.
Yes, with respect to working from home. Let me close my.
That's the great thing about live streams and working from home. So again, we're going to keep that. We got projects, we got governance. I mean, we're on the marketplace. Like, where do you want to go with that?
Yeah, let's go for projects. That's one of my favorite. That's actually one of my favorite features of the whole tool, and that's so we really our front end, our web app team and our front end designer really did a great job in figuring out how people actually work when it comes to data and building the tool that helps with that flow. So our tool works by, instead of just giving you a query view that connects to every data source under the sun, you first have to kind of filter it down. You first decide, well, when I'm working on a project, what data am I actually going to use for this project? And then you can associate the certain data with that project. What that means is that if you're connecting our tool to your data lake, when you're working on your project, you're not seeing hundreds of thousands of files there. You're seeing like the 3 that you care about, or the directory or 2 that you actually are working with. And that makes a huge difference in just like how you're actually working with your data. And, and it just makes your life a lot easier because you're not scrolling through thousands and thousands of tables and unrelated garbage to just see what you need to see.
Well, I think that's a good point, because every time we get on a call, some people, we've got a really big data set. We've got terabytes and terabytes. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
What can I imagine? Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah. And then the flip side of this, of course, is that it provides, by using the user's behavior to, so when a user creates a project, they put in a description, they put in some metadata and so forth. But by doing that, it enables us to use the user's behavior to understand about their data. So this is where we can figure out, okay, these database tables are used for this particular bit of analysis or this project or whatever. So we use the user's behavior to actually gather metadata about a corporation's holdings that can then be used to learn from it.
Yes.
So that's why I really like the project. The second piece I really like about the project is it enables you to facilitate the whole collaborative bit. So when I create my project, I add my team members. We have a forum that we have real-time chat in there. So, users can actually talk with each other, and all of that dialogue is preserved within the context of that project. So when the new person comes in, they open up this data set. They don't have to spend 6 months figuring out, oh, these columns are corrupt, and this one, even though it says ID, it's actually this, or all the kinds of things that happen in the course of real world data analytics. Right.
And actually, Charles, you bring up a good point. And again, we're announcing the Oracle partnership right now live. We are going to be doing a masterclass series that shows demos. So for everyone that is watching, Charles will always be available, but we got a great customer success team. We got a great engineering team. And we will constantly be bringing you this type of content to show you what it looks like in the marketplace, to show you how easy it is to download. We will be there every step of the way to delight you on this really great day. And it's really neat to do this on LinkedIn, a new medium where all our customers are. It's not a new medium, but I'm saying, like, live streaming on LinkedIn. We wanted to bring all our knowledge to where so many of our customers are, and our product council members and future customers. So Charles, congratulations. Big
Thank you.
milestone for you
Thank you very
today.
much.
Yeah, this is a neat day. And to all the DataDistillr employees and advisors and investors, we want to thank you also for your trust, your support, your advice, your guidance. We do this together. And also our good friends at Oracle, the OPN network, everyone that is part of that Oracle cloud. You've made a big difference in our lives, and we're excited to delight your 400,000 customers. And we're also going to be working through the Gov Cloud, the Oracle Gov Cloud. That's going to be future. We'll have another announcement about that. But you can check us out at www.datadistillr.com. And we'll also add a link to the marketplace. You can check us out. All our docs are there, our product specs, our security docs, our case studies. So even some videos of what we're working on. So we want to thank everybody. And Charles, thank you for making time to be on the DataDistillr Masterclass series.
My pleasure.
We'll see you again soon.